So you want to learn how to flip PCs, but you don't really know where to start. Go ahead, stick with me to the end, and I'll show you my personal process of what I think is the easiest way to get into PC flipping in 2025. First, we need to go for a quick little road trip. PC number one that we're on our way to pick up has a Ryzen 7 2700X with a RX 6650 XT. I'm picking that one up for $310. And then the other one is an i5 with a 1650 that I'm getting for $60. When we get back, I'll show you a little bit more about how I found those deals. But first, there's a word from our sponsor.
This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. If you're anything like me, you probably spend a lot of time sitting at your computer. Whether you're working, playing games, or something else, you might spend just about as much time in your chair as you do in your bed. Sitting for hours on end in a low-quality chair might make you feel like this: creaky, stiff, and ready to collapse. Say no more to discomfort with the new, upgraded FlexiSpot OC6 ergonomic chair. FlexiSpot was nice enough to send out their new chair to us, and after using it for a little while, I can confidently say that it is the nicest office chair I've ever sat in. Not only is it super comfy with supportive and breathable mesh on the seat and backrest, but it also has an extreme amount of features like an adjustable headrest, an adjustable back support pillow, fully adjustable armrests, an adjustable seat, and it can lean so far back that I can't even lean back to its limit without hitting the bed behind me. Assembly was super easy and only took me maybe 15 to 20 minutes. This new upgraded version can even support up to 500 pounds of weight, which really shows its quality and durability. So, what are you waiting for? Upgrade your setup with FlexiSpot's new OC6 chair with the link in the video description below.
Alright y'all, so I just went ahead, I got this 2700X 6650 XT PC, and right now I'm about to be on my way over to Micro Center and then back home, back to the studio. So these last couple weeks I've been buying a ton of different Prebuilts off of Facebook Marketplace, and honestly, I think at the moment it's one of the easiest ways to get into PC flipping, right? Whether or not you're a veteran, somebody who's experienced, somebody who just has love for the game, or if you're just a complete beginner, it does not matter. And there are a couple of different reasons why I think if you are flipping, buying Prebuilts is definitely the move. Number one, you don't have to sit waiting there for parts to arrive. All of us know that feeling when you have all the parts except for that one main component that you're just waiting on that hasn't arrived yet. It's something that a lot of you guys who are going to be starting flipping will experience at one point or another. No one likes sitting around and waiting for parts. You might end up, let's say getting bored or getting hypothermia or both, right? But either way, it's something that nobody enjoys. And one of the key things to flipping is to always have something listed for sale, right? So if you don't have something listed for sale, then obviously there's no money that can come in, no sales that can be made. And that's not something that we want to be waiting for, right? By buying a pre-built, that's something that you can kind of avoid in general, right? Let's say, except for waiting on maybe a case, or if you have a Micro Center nearby, then you can go ahead, you can literally just buy one, or you could buy a case locally or something like that. So reason number two is that a lot of the time, the PC is not gonna need that many different modifications or upgrades. So it's something where you could go ahead, you could buy a PC as a whole, and you might just need a case, you might just need storage, you might just need, let's say maybe you wanna swap out the RAM or the CPU or something like that, right? But a lot of the time it's not going to be something where you're going to have to invest a ton of money into it, because majority of the parts are already going to be good and they're already there for you to use. As long as you pick the right build with the right type of components, right? Something mid-range, let's say all the way from a GTX 1080 or something older to an RTX 4060 or maybe something of that caliber, I think you're going to be golden, honestly. From buying this PC to listing it took me about 6 hours, I want to say, right? Because it obviously had to drive and then, go ahead and actually case swap the PC itself. But then from listing up the PC, stress testing it, to actually selling it took 18 hours. And I literally bought this PC yesterday at 5 p.m. and I sold it today at 8 o'clock. This is not the only example of this. This is something that I've done a multitude of times, and it's something that has always panned out for me, giving me profit margins from, let's say, all the way from 30% at the low end, all the way up to 50%, if not more. So essentially doubling my money. All of these PCs I bought in person on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, and all of them I was able to flip within 3 days from start to finish. So as far as how I actually go about finding these computers to flip, right? So number one, primarily I'll go on Facebook Marketplace and then I'll search within a 100-mile radius of where I'm at and between the $200 to $500 budget, right? So we're looking for something that's more mid-range, maybe something a little bit older, from let's say a GTX 1080 all the way up to maybe an RTX 3060 or 4060 level card. So generally you're going to want to look for something that has worse picks or doesn't look as good in general, or maybe a little bit dusty or something like that, because they're all small problems that we can go ahead and fix, right? That's not, a huge deal for us to go ahead and, let's say dust off a PC or go ahead, add a little bit of RGB, a little bit of tempered glass, a little bit of, let's say cable extension, something like that. Those are things that are really easy to go ahead and remove or replace or whatever the case may be. And you're still going to be able to use that as leverage to get yourself a better deal. And that's also going to be another good thing in your favor, right? Just because the majority of buyers are not going to be looking for something like this. They're going to be looking for something that has more appealing pictures, that looks nicer, let's say white, RGB, fish tank, whatever their, requirements will be, right? That's what they're going to be looking for. They're not going to be looking for something that's in an old CyberPower PC case that, let's say maybe dusty or it has bad pictures. It looks like the guy doesn't know what he's doing, right? That's something that you want to look for as a flipper, right? Because you're not buying as a normal buyer. You're not buying as the average consumer. You're not buying as the regular gamer. You're buying as a flipper. All of those negatives that the normal buyer would see are all positives for you because it gives you opportunities to actually make profit. All right, so now that you found your PC, go ahead and try and go get it. Your message, I would personally stay away from saying, let's say like the automated messages or something like that. Literally just change up the words a little bit. Be like, hey, is this PC still for sale? Or what are the specs of this PC? Basically anything like that, just so that way the buyer doesn't think, oh, you're just trying to BS them. You're just trying to, waste their time or whatever the case may be. Now here's a tip personally, right? I would suggest that if the price is just, like if it makes sense, if it's something that you would, for a fact that you would easily be able to go ahead and make profit off of, right? Then I would definitely suggest just buying full price. And the reason I say this is because certain times, there have been times where I've gone ahead, I've lost a deal, or there's been somebody that has come in and let's say, they're willing to pay full asking, right? And they were able to get the PC in that same day. To the seller, it's like, okay, I'm going to prioritize getting the guy who's going to pay full price, but also the guy who has, the most money, they're able to bring it quickly, right? They're like serious about buying. There's somebody that's going to, bring cash today, right? Let's say you got an offer, for example, and, you got an offer from Billy Bob Joe down the street. And he says, oh, I'll give you asking price, but you got to wait. And then Jane comes down the road and she says, hey, I'll give it to you I'll buy it for, let's say $50 off of asking, but I'll buy it today. Me personally, I'm probably taking Jane's offer, I'll be real. But that's my personal opinion. Personally, I'm always keeping tabs on my local market because if I don't act quick enough, they will sell, right? I'm not gonna lie, there's been at least 4 or 5 times this week alone that I've missed out on deals because, number one, I wasn't quick enough, or the guy wanted a little bit too much or a little bit more than I was willing to spend. Somebody was able to, outbid me and, buy it instantly, right? So there are certain cases where it makes sense to kind of overpay. Majority, I would say try to avoid it. And if you don't know whether or not a PC is a good deal, then you should go ahead and just join our Discord, right? Like me personally, that's something that I use a lot. Like if I went through and scrolled through, I'm actually put it on the screen right now, literally just scrolling through my own messages using price check. So I mean, if you have a question about whether or not you think a PC is a good deal, whether or not, you should buy for a certain price, then that's somewhere that you could go ahead and use. And there may be other Discords that you prefer as well. So, it's not really a big deal. I would just go ahead, obviously, if you personally think that, it's a good decision, then go with your gut. But if not, you could always go to a Discord server or let's say a Reddit or something like that and be able to ask for pricing suggestions. But I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link to our Discord down in the description. All right, so now after the makeover, you have basically just two options as far as selling goes, right? You can either sell online or you can sell locally. Personally, I choose online, but there are pros and cons to each. In person, a lot of times your market size is gonna be a little bit more limited, right? Because people are not gonna be able to buy your computer from all the way, say, California and you're in Maryland, versus, if you're just gonna be selling online, you can ship it, right? It's not really a big deal. So that's kind of one of the cons to going in person, as well as a lot of the time the selling price is going to be quite a bit lower. Now it can be lower. It's not like a guaranteed. I know some people that, like, I know a guy that was in Hawaii, right, for example, and obviously he doesn't have any competition, so he was able to sell for stupid amounts of money. But that's kind of one-off occasion, right? It's not going to be every single market. Like selling, as far as like selling in general, when you're flipping your PCs, is going to be quite different from person to person. Whether or not, let's say you're in Asia or you're in Europe or you're in Africa or you're in, North America, right? It's going to be different from, every single person. This is kind of like more so a part of the guide where it's not necessarily set in stone what you do. Personally, I choose online 10 times out of 10. So, I mean, it's really up to you. As far as some more pros for in-person though, in person, you don't have to pay any taxes on anything that you earn, right? Because you're going to be receiving cash. And then as well, you don't have to pay any platform fees. Let's say like eBay or Java or Mercari, you don't have to pay a 10% cut. And then you also get the money immediately. It's not like you have to, wait for the person to receive the item and then they have to review you, or they have to wait like a certain, waiting period or something like that. You're just going to be getting the money instantly. So as far as going the shipping route, personally, I like to ship just because of the fact that, number one, I make more money. So obviously this does again come back to your local market, what that looks like. If your local market is cracked, if you live in Hawaii or something like that and you're looking to flip, then it may be a better option for you to just, sell in person, sell locally. Or if you don't want to deal with shipping at all, because that is another risk that can come up, right? Let's say a PC goes bad in shipping or gets damaged or something like that, then you have to go through an insurance claim and that takes time. So, I mean, there's kind of pros and cons. Personally, I choose online again, just because of the fact that I'm able to sell for more money. Usually I'm able to sell within, let's say 24 hours, right? Like these last couple of computers that I've been doing, I can put up a couple up on the screen. These have all sold within, I think the most one took was like a day and a half. The rest sold in under 24 hours, each and every one of them. So that's kind of my experience. As far as the cons though, platform fees do suck. I'm not gonna lie. I like to use Java just because like that 9% fee is the lowest in the industry for me. I know for new accounts, I think it's 12%, but 9% for me, that works fine. And then as well, just the possibilities of things happening in shipping. Now, if you pack your PC right, that's not something that you're gonna have to deal with, but it is something that can happen. Whatever route you decide, just know that flipping takes time, right? This is not like a guarantee. This is not like you go to your 9 to 5 and for sure you are getting a paycheck, right? It's something where it may take you days to sell a computer, it may take you weeks to sell a computer, it may take you months, it may take you a year. You never know, right? So don't go into this thinking that, oh, just because so-and-so said, I'll be able to make this amount of money or whatever the case may be. Like, this is not a surefire way to, like, flipping is not like a 1000% guarantee thing, right? So I just want to let you guys know that, like, do know that there are risks going into it. There are possibilities where, you could lose money. Let's say you buy a bad computer or something like that, you're not able to test it, or, you're not able to troubleshoot it properly and you send it off to a buyer and buyer has issues, they have to return it. There are a lot of things that could go wrong, but I do feel like there are a lot of positives as well to flipping computers. So yeah, this is personally my process of how I have been flipping computers a lot of the time, at least these last couple weeks, last couple months, how I've been going about it, buying a lot of pre-builts, being able to, kind of spice them up, and then sell them for like a pretty solid profit. Now, obviously you could custom build, you know, that's always gonna be a valid route, but I feel like pre-builts are definitely one of the better ways, just because it cuts down like waste and stuff like that. So you're able to, like, instead of a computer going to a landfill, you're able to basically give it a new life, give it a new home. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Be sure to go ahead, join the Discord, subscribe, leave a comment. I guess kind of detailing your own process, how you go about flipping PCs, whether or not you're making good profit, how you're selling, you know, let's say you're selling online or you're selling in person. I'd be curious to hear. But yeah, guys, that's basically it for now. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks and see ya.